Welcome, friend. I'm so glad you're here. Settle in now. Let the day loosen its hold on you. Let your head sink into the pillow. Feel the blankets grow warm around you. There is nothing more you need to do tonight. Nothing to remember, nothing to solve. Everything can wait until morning. Tonight we return once more to the gentle world of the riverbank, to the story of the wind in the willows, and to a chapter called Toad's Adventures. It is a tale of a long, quiet journey home, of kind strangers, of moonlit fields seen from a slow train, and of a soft bed of leaves at the end of it all. So breathe in, slowly, and breathe out, even more slowly, and let the story carry you, the way a river carries a leaf, easily, unhurried, towards sleep. Before we begin, take one more slow, deep breath in through your nose and let it go, long and soft through your lips. Feel your shoulders melt away from your ears. Feel your jaw unclench, your forehead grow smooth. Feel the weight of your legs, your arms, your hands, growing heavier now, pleasantly heavy, sinking into the bed as a stone sinks slowly through still water. With every breath, you drift a little deeper, and that is all you have to do tonight. Just breathe and listen and drift. Our story begins in a great old castle, far away in the hills, where Toad, that foolish, lovable fellow, had been sent to stay a while. You may remember how it happened. How he had borrowed a shiny motor car that was not his to borrow, and how the magistrates, shaking their heads, had sent him to think about what he had done. And so Toad found himself in a small stone room, deep inside the oldest castle in all the land. The walls were thick, thicker than the span of your arms, and they had stood for 1,000 years holding their silence. The room was dim and cool, and through one high small window, a single square of evening light moved slowly across the floor, like the hand of a very patient clock. In the evenings, the castle grew very still. Far below in the courtyards, the day's footsteps faded one by one. A door closed softly somewhere. A key turned. A lantern was trimmed and hung. And then there was only the wind moving slowly around the ancient towers. The same wind that moved over the distant river, over the willows, over all the sleeping meadows of the world. At first, Toad was terribly sorry for himself. He lay upon the floor and sighed great sighs. "This is the end of everything," he said. "The end of the career of Toad, the popular and handsome Toad, the rich and hospitable Toad." And he thought of his friends far away. Wise old Badger, clever Rat, sensible Mole, all of them at home beside the river, where the evenings were long and golden. He sighed, and the castle, which had heard 1,000 years of sighs, simply held him quietly, the way old stone does, asking nothing, keeping him safe. And for several weeks he took no comfort at all, though the ancient jailer pointed out, kindly enough, that meals could be sent in from outside, and that things were never quite so bad as they seemed. Now the jailer had a daughter, a pleasant, good-hearted girl, who helped her father with the lighter duties of his post. She was especially fond of animals. She kept a canary whose cage hung on a nail in the sunny wall by day, and who was covered with a soft cloth on the parlor table at night, so that it too knew when it was time to sleep. She kept piebald mice, and a squirrel who ran and ran in his wheel until he was tired, and then curled into his tail like a little gray cushion. And this kind girl, seeing how unhappy Toad was, said to her father one day, "Father, I can't bear to see that poor animal so sad. Let me look after him." And her father, who was a tired old man and glad of the help, said she might do as she liked. So that very evening she came to Toad's door and knocked softly. "Cheer up, Toad," she said in a voice as warm as lamplight. "Sit up and dry your eyes and be a sensible animal. Look, I've brought you some of my own supper, hot from the oven." It was bubble and squeak between two plates, and the fragrance of it filled the narrow cell. That deep, homely smell of a warm kitchen. It reached Toad where he lay, and it whispered to him that perhaps the world was not so dark after all. He would not be comforted just yet. So the wise girl went away for a while and left the warm smell behind her. And Toad, alone in the quiet, began, in spite of himself, to think new and gentler thoughts. He thought of broad meadows, warm with sun, of cattle grazing slowly there, swishing their tails, of kitchen gardens with their straight rows of herbs, of snapdragons drowsy with bees. He thought of the friendly clink of dishes being set on a table, of chairs drawn up, of everything that means home. And little by little, the air of the small room seemed to take on a rosy tinge. He thought of his friends and how they would surely help him. And lastly, he thought of his own great cleverness. And by the time he had finished thinking of that, he was very nearly cheerful again. That is the way of a warm thought, friend. Let one in, and others follow, like candles being lit, one from another, until a whole room glows. Some hours later, the girl returned, and this time she carried a tray. On it was a cup of fragrant tea, steaming gently, and a plate piled high with hot buttered toast, cut thick, golden brown on both sides, with the butter soaking through it in great warm drops, like honey from a honeycomb. And the smell of that buttered toast spoke to Toad, plainly and kindly. It spoke of warm kitchens, of breakfasts on bright, frosty mornings, of cozy firesides on winter evenings, when the day's ramble is over and slippered feet are stretched toward the fender. It spoke of the purring of contented cats and the twitter of sleepy canaries. Toad sat up, dried his eyes, sipped his tea, and munched his toast. And soon he was talking freely, in his old comfortable way, about himself and his beautiful house and all the things he loved. "Tell me about Toad Hall," said the girl, settling herself on a stool. "It sounds beautiful." And Toad very proudly told her. He told her about the boathouse where the water lapped softly among the rafters, about the fish pond, still as a mirror in the evening, about the old walled kitchen garden where the sun gathered all day and the bricks stayed warm long after dark. He told her of the stables and the pigeon house, where soft cooing began and ended each day, of the dairy, cool and clean, of china cupboards and linen presses, with their stacks of folded sheets that smelled of lavender. And he told her of the banqueting hall, and of the fun they had there, in the old days, when all the animals gathered round the table, and there were songs and stories, and the fire burned low and nobody wanted to go home. And the girl listened and refilled his cup and let him talk, for she saw that talking of home was doing him as much good as the tea. When at last she said goodnight, she filled his water jug and shook up his straw for him so that it lay soft and deep. And Toad, quite his old self again, sang a little song or two, of the sort he used to sing at his dinner parties, then curled himself up in the straw and had an excellent night's rest and the pleasantest of dreams. And perhaps, friend, that is where you are heading to, down into straw that has been shaken soft, into rest that is deep and easy. There's no hurry. The story will walk slowly. You may follow, or you may drift. Both are just right. Many quiet days passed in this way. Each morning the square of sunlight appeared high on the wall and made its slow, patient journey across the stones. Each afternoon the canary sang a while in the courtyard below, and the squirrel ran in his wheel and rested and ran again. Each evening the girl's light footsteps sounded in the passage, and there was tea and talk and the comfortable clink of cups. The days folded into one another, softly like sheets being laid in a linen press. And Toad, without quite noticing it, grew rested and calm and even a little wise. There were talks and tea and toast, and the girl grew sorry for Toad, locked away for what seemed to her so small a thing. One morning she was very thoughtful. "Toad," she said presently, "just listen, please. I have an aunt who is a washerwoman. She does the washing for everyone in this castle. She carries the washing out on Monday morning and brings it back on Friday evening. And it seems to me that if you asked her very nicely, she might lend you her dress and her shawl and her bonnet, and you could walk out of the castle as the official washerwoman and go home. You're very alike in many respects, particularly about the figure." Toad was a little huffy at that, for he considered that he had a very elegant figure for what he was. But the girl only laughed at him gently. An honest Toad, who was always ready to admit himself in the wrong, hung his head. "You are a good, kind, clever girl," he said, "and I am indeed a proud and a stupid Toad. Introduce me to your worthy aunt, and I have no doubt we shall arrange matters splendidly." And so the next evening, the aunt came to Toad's cell, carrying his week's washing pinned up in a towel, and the matter was arranged, very satisfactorily and to everyone's advantage. In exchange for some golden sovereigns, Toad received a cotton print gown, an apron, a shawl, and a rusty black bonnet that had seen many years of honest work. Then came the dressing up. The girl laughed softly as she hooked him into the print gown, arranged the shawl with a professional fold, and tied the strings of the bonnet under his chin. "You're the very image of her," she smiled, "only I'm sure you never looked half so respectable in all your life." And she told him the way to go, down the stair and along the passage and across the courtyards, and she wished him good luck in a whisper. "Goodbye, Toad, and remember, you're a widow woman, quite alone in the world, walking home at the end of a long day's work." And Toad thanked her from the bottom of his warm little heart, for kindness like hers is not soon forgotten. So Toad set forth, one careful step at a time, and he was soon agreeably surprised to find how easy everything was. The washerwoman's cotton print gown seemed a passport at every door. The warders nodded him through, thinking of their own suppers, and where he hesitated at a turning, someone would call, in a friendly way, to come along now and not be all night about it. Down the worn stone stairs he went, where 1,000 years of feet had hollowed every step, through the long passage where lanterns made warm islands of light, across the first courtyard, where the evening star was just showing over the battlements, across the second, where a sleepy sentry leaned upon the wall and dreamed of his village, until at last he heard the little gate click softly behind him and felt the cool, fresh air of the open world upon his brow and knew that he was free. He stood a moment, breathing it in. The evening was wide and mild. Somewhere below lay the little town, its windows beginning to glow, one by one like embers settling in a grate. And Toad walked quietly down toward the lights, in no hurry at all now, his heart growing lighter with every step. And as he walked, he noticed, a little way off to one side of the town, some red and green lamps shining steadily in the dusk, and heard the soft, rhythmic breathing of engines at rest, the gentle clank and murmur of a railway station settling down for the night. "Aha," thought Toad, "this is a piece of luck. A railway station is the very thing I want most in the whole world." He made his way there accordingly and consulted the timetable, tilting his bonnet to see, and found that a train, bound more or less in the direction of his home, was due to leave in half an hour. "More luck," said Toad, and his spirits rose like bread in a warm oven. He went along to the booking office to buy his ticket and reached without thinking for his waistcoat pocket, But the cotton gown which had served him so nobly had no waistcoat beneath it, and no pocket, and no money, for he had left coat and waistcoat and pocketbook and all behind him in the castle. Poor Toad, so close to home, and not a shilling to his name. He tried his grandest manner on the clerk. "Just give me the ticket, will you? And I'll send the money on tomorrow. I'm well known in these parts." But the clerk only shook his head slowly and asked him, not unkindly, to stand aside. So Toad wandered down the platform where the train stood breathing softly in the lamplight, and 2 small tears trickled down each side of his nose. It seemed hard to be within sight of safety and almost of home, and to be stopped by the want of a few wretched shillings. But friend, you and I know that in stories like this one, and often in life as well, just when the road seems closed, a door opens quietly somewhere. And so it was for Toad, for at the head of the train, beside the great warm engine, stood its driver, a burly man with an oil can in one hand and a lump of cotton waste in the other, wiping and polishing and generally caressing his engine, as a groom might tend a well-loved horse. "Hello, mother," said the engine driver kindly. "What's the trouble? You don't look particularly cheerful." "Oh, sir," said Toad, "I am a poor, unhappy washerwoman, and I've lost all my money, and I can't pay for a ticket, and I must get home tonight somehow." "That's a bad business indeed," said the engine driver thoughtfully, rubbing his chin, and then his face brightened. "Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. You're a washerwoman to your trade, and I'm an engine driver, and there's no denying it's terribly dirty work. Uses up a power of shirts, it does. If you'll wash a few shirts for me when you get home and send them along, I'll give you a ride on my engine." Toad's misery turned to joy in a moment, and he scrambled eagerly up into the cab. The great engine stood warm beneath him, humming quietly to itself. The guard waved his flag, the driver gave a cheerful whistle, and slowly, smoothly, the train moved out of the station and into the night. And oh, friend, what a ride that was. The steady drum of the wheels beneath, the warm glow of the firebox, and on either side, the wide, dark country flowing past. Real fields and trees and hedges and cows drowsing in the meadows, and horses standing quiet at gates, all slipping gently by in the dusk. And Toad thought of Toad Hall drawing nearer with every mile, of sympathetic friends, of a soft bed, of good things to eat. And he was so happy that he sang little snatches of song, to the great astonishment of the engine driver, who had met washerwomen before, but never one at all like this. By and by, Toad grew quieter and simply watched. The rhythm of the rails sang its low, steady song. Da-dum, 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 the oldest lullaby of all travelers. Villages drifted past, far off, just a handful of lit windows each, warm and small in the great dark. In one of them, perhaps, a kettle was singing on a hob. In another, a child was being tucked in, just as you are tucked in now. Sleeping farms went by, barns full of hay and warm breath, ponds where the moon lay still upon the water, and the engine driver stood easy at his levers, watching the line ahead, humming to himself. A man entirely at peace with his work and his evening. It is a fine thing, friend, to be carried, to let someone else mind the way for a while, to give up all the steering and simply rock and ride and rest. The moon rose as they traveled, round and white and calm, silvering the rails ahead and the sleeping fields on either side. They had covered many and many a mile, when the driver, leaning out into the night air, grew thoughtful. "That's strange," he said. "We're the last train running tonight, yet I fancy I hear another, following on behind." And sure enough, far back along the moonlit line, there came another engine, and aboard it, dimly, could be seen warders and policemen and important-looking men in pot hats, all of them calling, faint and far away, "Stop! Stop! Stop!" For Toad's absence had been noticed at the castle, and these earnest gentlemen felt it their duty to fetch him back. Toad grew very quiet and knelt among the coals and told the driver everything. "I am not the simple washerwoman I seem to be," he confessed. "I am Toad of Toad Hall. I borrowed a motor car once while the owners were at lunch. I didn't mean any harm, but magistrates take such harsh views of thoughtless and high-spirited actions." The engine driver looked down at him, very gravely. "By rights I ought to give you up," he said slowly. "But the sight of an animal in tears always makes me feel queer and soft-hearted, and I don't hold with being ordered about on my own engine, neither. So cheer up, Toad. I'll do my best for you, and we may manage it yet." And then he told Toad his plan, calmly as one neighbor tells another over a garden wall. "A short way ahead of us is a long tunnel, and on the other side of it, the line runs through a thick, kindly wood. I'll put on speed through the tunnel, and the fellows behind will slow down naturally for fear of an accident. When we're through, I'll ease off and put on the brakes. And when we're going slow and safe, you shall hop down and tuck yourself away among the trees, and they'll steam past and never know. Now mind and be ready when I give the word." More coals went into the firebox. The engine settled to her work, and the dark mouth of the tunnel received them, whoosh, into a warm, rushing darkness, where there was nothing to do but hold on and trust and wait. Then out they came, at the far end, into fresh air and the peaceful moonlight once more. And there lay the wood, dark and soft and helpful, on either side of the line. The driver shut off steam, the brakes murmured, the train slowed and slowed until it was gliding no faster than a walking pace. "Now," called the driver kindly, and Toad stepped down and hopped gently from the step, rolled over once in the cool grass of the embankment, picked himself up quite unhurt, and trotted into the wood and tucked himself cozily out of sight. Peeping out, he saw his train gather speed again and slip away into the night. And presently the other engine passed too, with its warders and policemen still calling, "Stop, stop, stop," ever fainter, until the sound of them faded altogether and was gone. And Toad, safe among the trees, laughed a long, quiet laugh, the first for many weeks, and it did him a world of good. When his laugh was done, the silence of the woods settled around him, deep and complete. After all the roar and rattle of the train, it was late now, and the wood was dim and unfamiliar, but the moon looked down between the branches, laying little coins of silver on the path. An owl passed over on soft wings with a low ho, 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 calling the hour, as owls have always done. A nightjar purred its dry lullaby somewhere off in the bracken. And once a fox paused on the path, looked him up and down, said something saucy about the washing, and trotted away, sniggering to himself. Toad felt the remark was in poor taste, but he was too comfortable and too sleepy now to mind very much. The wood was not unfriendly after all. It was only old and dark and half asleep itself. He wandered gently on beneath the tall, patient trees. Moss grew thick and soft along their roots, like cushions set out for tired travelers. The air smelled of leaf mold and cool earth, that deep, ancient smell that woods keep for those who visit them at night. Above, the branches swayed ever so slightly, and between them the stars looked down, calm and kind and very far away. The same stars that have watched over every sleeper in every age and are watching still tonight over you. And Toad walked on a little way, slower and slower, his eyes beginning to close of their own accord, looking for some snug corner to spend the night. And at last he found it, a great hollow tree, old as the wood itself, with a deep, dry heart lined with soft decades of fallen leaves. He gathered branches and bracken and armfuls of dead leaves and made himself a bed, as deep and warm a bed as any weary animal could wish for. And he crept inside and burrowed down and drew the leaves up over him like a quilt. Outside, the moon kept her gentle watch over the sleeping wood. The owl called once more, further off now. The leaves whispered their one soft secret over and over. And Toad, tired out with the long day, with kindness received and miles traveled and troubles left far behind, slept soundly and safely until the morning. And as he slept, he dreamed small, comfortable dreams of buttered toast, of the girl's kind laughter, of the good engine driver and his warm, humming engine, of Toad Hall waiting for him beyond the hills, with its lawns silver in the moonlight and its windows dark and peaceful. All of it gathered gently around him as he slept, the whole kind day, keeping him company, keeping him warm. And there we shall leave him, friend, warm in his hollow tree, home drawing nearer with every dream. For tomorrow is another chapter, and the road he still must travel can wait, as all things can wait, until we are rested. You too have traveled far today, and now your journey is done. You are safe. You are warm. You are exactly where you should be. Let your breathing be slow now, slow as a train easing into its last station. Let your thoughts scatter like leaves, drifting down, settling softly. There is nothing to hold on to, and no need to hold on. The moon is keeping watch. The river is running quietly in the dark, as it always has, and always will. Sleep now, dear friend. Sleep now. Good night.